Hello everybody, welcome back. It's vlog 2. This is the vlog post where I tell you about the things I've made. 3 things to show you today. The Meghan dress that I'm wearing, and I will show you properly in a second. The Betty experimental top pattern, and where I've got to on my vintage sew along pattern. Meghan dress. So I will stand up so you can see it properly. I have to stand over here, I think, to get in frame. And you may not be able to see my head, but you know, you can see the dress, and that's the most important thing. So this is Meghan. Here she is. I shall turn around so you can see the back. I really love this dress. It makes me happy. It's bright coloured, which is very me. It's super easy to wear. It's very comfortable, and you can sling it on and run out the door, and it mostly behaves itself. So what to say? Well, I changed the neckline because the original neckline is rounded, as I think I mentioned on my last video, and that doesn't tend to suit me. So I've gone very straight in the neck, in this kind of slash neck, which I copied off a different dress that I have. It's got a little cap sleeve on it. And whenever I make this dress, the sleeve always tends to do this interesting Star Trek-y type thing, where it sort of pops up at the sleeve, which I actually don't dislike, but you know, it's a thing. You could pull the, if I pull it down, if I weighted my sleeves, that would work. So it's probably something about the way that I'm inserting the sleeve, I'm sure it is, I'm not an expert. I can live with it. So because I changed the neckline, the back, if I sit like this, hopefully you can see it, the back tends to bow out a bit. So I definitely should have spent more time getting that to fit properly. Again, I don't really care. But, you know, in terms of fit, it's not great. I think if I'd just pinched this in a little bit and taken some width out of it, that probably would have helped. And because the shoulder seam is now very, very narrow, I think that doesn't help that issue. But I top stitched the neckline because I find that understitching just doesn't do it for me somehow. I understitched it too, but it doesn't stop the facing from coming out. So I've top stitched it. Invisible zip is in fact invisible, which is good. The biggest thing to say is that the fit is looser on this than on my other Meghans. My other Meghans I actually took in quite a lot at the waistline, which is very high. It's here, it's kind of empire line on this dress. Because you could take a good probably inch out of this and it would fit me much more close sleeve, and I actually prefer that look. But I was being good, and here is a sign that you should never be good. And I finished all of the seams on this dress. I put a blog post up about finishing the seams, and the inside of this dress looks unbelievably beautiful. I sort of want to run around with it on inside out. The only issue is, because I didn't make a toile, and I didn't technically check the fit properly, when I finally put it all together and I put it on, I was like, yeah, I should probably take about an inch out of the side of this. I'd finished all my seams, and I really couldn't be bothered to undo them all and then do them again, because quite frankly, life's too short. So I'm just wearing it a bit bigger than it would be, which means that the back definitely, I think the back there is some, it's a bit baggier than I kind of would like. But other than that, I love it. And because I've made it extra big, I can eat an enormous dinner in this dress and no one's ever going to know. So yes, Meghan, here she is. I'll give you one last little twirl. That was a moving twirl. There we go. And now I'm going to show you, I'm going to go and find the Betty top, and I will show you that. Betty. Here she is. I'm going to stand up so you can see her properly. I'm wearing her with my Sew Over It Ultimate Pencil Skirt. This has become possibly my favourite outfit. This is made from just wool that I bought in New York. It's Giorgio Armani wool, and I bought it in the sale, and it was about $7 a yard. And it's gorgeous. So it picks out the yellow in the cross weave of the top fabric, and it's just perfect. But we're not here to talk about the skirt, we're here to talk about Betty. So here is the Betty top. As I said, this was an experiment, and I feel it's turned out rather well. It's a lovely length for me. I really like things that are at the waist. My natural waist is actually about here, as you can tell from the bendy test. And the skirt finishes exactly here, but it's quite nice because it means I've got a bit of overlap. I could tuck it in if I wanted to, a little tiny bit, and have it exactly have a properly waist height thing. but the shape is so flattering. I have a real thing about wearing tops with my arms out. I don't do sleeveless, really, ever. And this is the only top I've got, and the dress similarly, where I'm sort of okay with it. I wouldn't say I'm 100% happy, but I'm okay. I put a cardigan on over the top of this and it's lovely. But because it's got this nice wide, the arm is a nice wide cut, so it doesn't, you don't get like the arm overhangy thing that you can get if you're like me and you've got slightly bigger boobs and therefore your arms are also slightly bigger. But so this is the front. It's just a very normal Betty top. So all I did was I extended the length of the pattern a bit and I hemmed it. But other than that, there were no changes. It's got the same facing system. It's an all-in-one armhole and neck facing, which is a bit of a fiddle to do, but it looks lovely once you've done it. And then the proper thing though to show you, I should just sort myself out before I turn around, is the back. So here's the back with the buttons. I'm trying to reverse. This is tricky. Here's the back. With the button closing that I talked about, which is a hack from the got something on my shoe. It's a hack from the shift dress pattern that Lisa Comfort already has on her blog, and there's a video on Sew Over It channel, which if you haven't looked at, you should, because it's great, of how to do the button closing on the back. So I took exactly the same sort of instructions that they've put on the blog about changing the pattern. You essentially have to put an extra inch onto the middle centre seam where the zip used to go on both sides. You have to create a facing and then curve off the bottom corner so you get that nice rounded shape. And the other thing I did was raise the back, because the Betty dress has a very deep V at the back, which looks really beautiful but isn't great for kind of practical purposes because it gets a bit cold. It looks beautiful on the dress, but on the top I just wanted something a bit higher. So I just redrew that and pulled it up a bit and then changed the facing to make sure that it matched. I had to take some height out of it though. When I first put it on, it bowed out a lot at the back. There's a common theme emerging here. I think maybe I've got a weirdly shaped back, but so what I did is I just took an inch off the shoulder seams on the front, of the back piece, and that solved it, so it now sits quite nicely at the back. And the back, I appreciate, is a little wobbly. The button at the bottom tends to get a little bit pulled, and there is definitely some sort of fabric movement that's going on. And I think that's because this top is more fitted than the shift dress. So the shift dress top basically just hangs straight down from your your bust. It just hangs, and it's wide at the waist, so you've got space. It's like a like a crop top. Whereas because this one is fitted in with darts, I think that means that everything just gets slightly pulled out of shape. So I appreciate that the back isn't perfect, but again, it was an experiment, and I think next time I don't know what I might do next time. I might leave the zip in next time and not do the buttons. I might put the buttons in but just finish them slightly higher up so I don't have one at the bottom, so I can just let it splay out and that doesn't pull quite so much. Yeah, again, it's for me. I don't really mind, and given I mostly wear it with a cardigan, certainly at the moment because it's not warm enough to go out without one, you can't really see it anyway. So I know it's beautiful, and I know that I put lots of work into it and the buttons are lovely. It doesn't really matter if no one else can see them. But other than that, what else is there to say about this? Nothing. I love it. This fabric creases like anything. Look at it and it creases. So that's slightly irritating, but I knew that when I bought it, so I just, and because it's a top, there's not as much creasing that can happen as it could in a skirt where you're sitting down, standing up all the time. So it's fine, and you can get through a day without looking like a crumpled mess by the end of it. So yes, good experiment. I think it worked. I really like it. So, if you really like it, give it a go. It's very simple, it's very, very straightforward to do. Not too complicated. Lovely. So that's the Betty top. And now I need to show you where I've got to with my toile. I have put this together to the point where I very roughly sewn it up. It's all sewn it's all basted together because I knew I'd have to make a lot of changes, so I didn't sew it properly. I've not put the sleeves on yet, and I've made zero adjustment since I put it together. And I just wanted to show you because there are all sorts of things with this that I'm going to have to figure out. And I just thought you'd find it amusing. And then at least there'll be a bit of a work in progress, so hopefully you'll see it progress to the final version where it's actually, in a proper fabric. And I made it out of an old duvet cover I have in a very attractive brown. So really it's lovely. This could be the favourite thing that you see from this video. Yeah, okay. I'll go and put it on and you'll see what I mean. Hold on to your hats, people. It's toile time. I'm going to stand up. So, here it is. I think you'll agree it's looking lovely. No, in all seriousness, there is great potential here. It's fine, it just needs lots of work. So this is so I've not put the collar on yet, I've not put the sleeves on. I knew that this particular seam here was going to be tricky, this one, and it was tricky, and as you can tell on here it's not quite working right, but that's good because this has given me an opportunity to practice and figure out how to put it together. I've got it pinned at the side seam because there's a zip here in the pattern. And it's obviously far too long, you might not even be able to see it, but it's going to need probably a foot taking off the bottom to make it the length that I will like. But one of the weirdest things about it is, so this is the waistline, the white, I've stitched the waistline onto the fabric so I can see where it is, and actually it's pretty much in exactly the right place on the front. It's in exactly, that's fine, and actually in terms of the bodice it actually fits really nicely. So the top half, this fits fine. This was a size 14 out of the packet. The joys of packet sizing being nothing to do with your actual dress size. But then the back, I've just like, what is going on here? It's enormous. Could fit 2 people in here with me. So yeah, there's all sorts of weirdness. This is the waistline, and it probably needs to come up about an inch. So the waistline on the back definitely needs moving. So I need to pinch out a load of fabric from the back, I think, in order to bring the waist up to the right height. And then I'm going to have to fiddle around and work out exactly where I need to take fabric out to make that fit. So yeah, the back is, I don't know what's going on with that. It's definitely the right size. I went back and checked that I hadn't cut out 2 fronts, or, because you could almost fit, you know, breasts in here. You could have like back breasts and it would work fine. I think it's got potential to be a really lovely pattern. I actually really love the fit. I love this seam line. I love the gathers. The neckline is actually really flattering because it's this very deep V, and then it'll have the collar on, so that'll give a bit of interest. I need to make up the sleeves and check how that affects the fit and all that sort of stuff before I do anything with it. But yes, this is the first version of this dress. So, you know, I hope that the second version is going to be better. I'll see how much of how many things I need to do to the back, but I suspect I'll have to make another toile to check my adjustments work for the back because there's just so much extra fabric there. If any of you can see very obviously what the problem is, or at least where I should make adjustments, then please feel free to comment. Any help, very welcome. But yeah, so there's the toile for my dress. I still think it's going to be lovely. I'm actually quite excited about it. I can see where it's going, but it was quite funny. I put it on and just like, what is going on at the back of this thing? But yeah, so that's it for this week. I hope you're all got lovely weekend plans, and I will see you soon. Bye!